What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Peter Parkour of the Distorted Theorists, and I am here today to review the newest episodes of Daredevil Born Again Season 1 on Disney+. Now, before we get into anything else, as always, there's a little bit of housekeeping. If you are new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below if you're enjoying the content, and especially if you want to tell your friends to subscribe as well. If you are returning to the channel, as always, make sure to hit that like, share, and comment down below to tell us, the Distorted Theorists, what you think of Daredevil Season 1, Daredevil Born Again Season 1. Now, without any further ado, let's get into the review for the newest episodes of Daredevil. Okay, so welcome back. I am here to review, break down, chat, get to know you guys. Yeah. We're here to chat and review and break down episode 8 of Daredevil Born Again, Season 1, Isle of Joy. Now, there is a lot to unpack in this episode, which I figured was going to happen. This is like the penultimate episode of the season. The season finale is coming up in a few days. And there's going to be a lot that's going to happen. There's going to be things that are going to be left. There's going to be a cliffhanger. That's just the way that these episodes generally work, unless it's in some of other shows that we've seen, like Game of Thrones or others, where pretty much the big moment, excuse me, the big moment happens in the penultimate episode, and then the last episode is the dealing with the fallout, and then there's a little twist at the end. But in this case, we're going to get into it. So anyways, the episode opens up with a really poignant part where we notice that Poindexter's in prison and everything's blue and it's kind of nice and someone's gardening and it's kind of nice. But apparently this blue is what leads into his powers or something when he activates or something along those lines, from what I've understood. Excuse me, I'm dealing with the sniffles. And then he gets transferred, to which he argues against and finds out that he's actually been transferred by Wilson Fisk from isolation and maximum security into pretty much the public school system, in which he proceeds to get, we assume, the crap beaten out of him. So as the episode begins to kind of move past that point, and we get past the opening credits, we realize that Mayor Fisk's program is moving forward, which he's very happy about. And then there's a discussion between himself and Vanessa, in which we realize that Vanessa was behind the death of Luca. He needed to be stamped out. There were issues. We can't have unrest and all that kind of stuff. And this episode does move very quickly. We're just kind of like hopping from one a little tangent to the next, but it was nice to see that was wrapped up. This wasn't something that was left near the very end of episode 9. This was the cliffhanger part of excuse me, the cliffhanger of episode 7, and then we kind of get, oh well, this is what's going to happen. Cool. And then we find out that Heather, her name is Heather, the girlfriend, her and her boyfriend, Matt Murdock, they kind of get into it with a little bit of a screaming match, and Daredevil didn't save her. She did. Stupidest line. I know it's made the rounds and memes and all that stuff. Daredevil didn't save me. I saved me. Okay, well, who was it that came through the window? I understand that this is part of the writing, and she doesn't like vigilantes, and she was the one that ultimately pulled the trigger several times to end Muse's life. She did save herself, but she's really against the whole Daredevil thing, isn't she? And she doesn't come across very good there, and obviously Matt's got his he's trying to make his point, and there's going to be the gala that night, the black and white tie or black tie event, whatever you want to call it, and there's no +1. No, you are in bed, and they They leave unhappy. Then we find out um, through the surprise that Wilson had for Vanessa that whatever his name was, Josh, Carl, Ephraim, was alive. He didn't kill him at the end of the last episode, but Vanessa makes short work of that. Um, and there's kind of a bit of a tension there that you can see at the end. Um, Wilson is happy to have Vanessa back at his side, but there's a little twinge. There's a moment when he looks at her and he's like, she may have to be something I deal with later on. As much as we're in this together, and I'm glad that we're doing it together, she could be a problem. And Vanessa, she's a strong woman. She really and truly is. She knows what she wants. She's not going to shy away from it. But I think that as much as that excites Kingpin, that scares him. You'll notice that I'm calling him Kingpin a little bit more in the last few episodes because he has become Kingpin again. He's going down that path. Um, we do find out that Fisk did move Bullseye, Poindexter. We do, and there's a discussion between Poindexter and Murdoch, which we thought I didn't think we were going to get honestly this early. I didn't think that this was going to be happening at this point, and you can tell. You really like it was evident in past episodes, but now because he's moonlighting much like Peter Parker would as Spider-Man, Bruce Wayne as Batman, all of these vigilante superheroes and heroes, this takes a toll on them. And for people who are in the public eye, like Murdoch, this is where he's going to start slipping, and he just snaps at one point and smashes Poindexter's face, I think 3 times. And it's just the descent into the primal beast. This is where he has the mask of Daredevil to hide behind, as Heather talks about in her book. She mentions this is something that, oh, they're such cowards because they hide. Well, Matt just kind of snaps, but that's because the people that he does this to know that he's Daredevil. But for anyone that's not watching or not familiar with this, it's very clear that he's slipping. Um, so he's and justice isn't being served, so the vigilante has to come by. And then out of nowhere we see that Gandolfini's character again. I learned Heather's name. I will learn his name by this time the second season rolls around. He becomes the deputy mayor of communications or something along those lines. And I just, man, this character of his, I thought he was a one-off. I thought he was a loser, and then he was like, "Hey, he's doing something. He's just trying to do something for himself." Oh, he's so skeevy. Oh, he's so weird. I thought he was Muse at one point. There's this whole development to his character that's not like the hero's journey or anything like that. It's just this weird kind of thing. I was like, I didn't like him, but I didn't like him so much that I liked him, and I think that's where this ends up by the time the black tie event is over, or at least the last time we excuse me. Oh my God, I'm a mess today. Um, but then through the jigs and reels, everything has been building up, like I've been mentioning for in my previous reviews. Everything's been building up to one event, and in this particular event is going to be this black tie event. Event. And there's a whole bunch of it becomes a bit of that bottle. Nothing is happening outside of the event. Everything is happening here. We see Heather show up. She's talking with Vanessa. Vanessa showing that, I don't think we need your services. I think we're stronger as a couple now. Ha ha. She has become the kingpin just as much as Mayor Fisk has become the kingpin. We are seeing Kingpin now very much leaning on the benefactors of his project. And blackmailing them. And it's like, I know I can count my office. I can count on you. My office will be reaching out to figure out what kind of donations you can make. The city thanks you for your service. I thank you for your service. And he just does it so cool. Not as in like suave cool, but like he's just straight up cold when he does it. And he just has that voice when he gets up. And this is what I want for you. And he's just it's not like maybe this is something we could do. It's like, no, you're doing this and you're going to help me fund it. And reveal to the swordsman and other people. And he's wearing that white suit. God damn, does he ever wear it well? And there's a question that I've got at one point when Bullseye makes his escape. You know, he spits that tooth out and just blows Buddy's head off, and then splits the scissors and throws them too. Is he super powered? Someone in the comments, let me know, because I don't know enough. I thought he was like Hawkeye, where he just trained and was just naturally gifted at being able to do this stuff. But does he have a serum? Does he worship a certain god? Is he just, or did he just sit in front of Duck Hunt back in front of his Nintendo, just and just nail all the stuff? Because that's something I've never understood. In the Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck, you see the uncanny ability for him to ricochet stuff, and he's just really accurate with his shots. But is it explained in the movies and in the shows that he's just like, I'm just lucky, like Domino? Like, is it that what it is, or is he super powered? Um, and so everyone's kind of coming together. We do see Gandolfini and BB have their chat. You're like, oh, I want to dance with you. You know, what we did. I hope I can count on you. And then BB leaves and she's like, oh, we're going to save that dance. And then she runs and meets the police commissioner after seeing some poor dude just get his hand deep fried. And he's like, I don't want any part of this, good God. It's happening again. He's becoming the kingpin. And then BB and him seem like they're going to have their little moments in season 2, or maybe it won't. Maybe something's going to happen in the finale. So all these little things are going on. And finally, Matt makes his way in and he sees Fisk, and Fisk sees him, but he goes to talk to Heather, and Heather talks to him. And then there's that dumbest little laugh. I can't remember what it was, the joke that he makes. And just that, I don't know. It's like a frigging Krusty the a Krusty the Clown laugh. I don't know what it is. And it was just so out of character for him. But again, the man is exhausted. He's had the shit beat out of him. And he's like, you know, he's just beating the crap out of everyone else too. So maybe he's got a concussion. I'm not sure. But then, like, this is all happening. I'm mentioning it out of order, and it ultimately ends with a very tense moment. There's the dance with Fisk and Vanessa, and they're doing their thing, and then Matt just steps in, leaving Heather with Fisk, and he gets to dance with Vanessa. And there's this whole tense of like, what would you do if I told you I know things about your boyfriend? Blah, 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 blah. And then Vanessa's being like, would you think Heather would be interested to know that you're Daredevil? And it's that ballsy attitude of her, like, ooh, you think? She's been so reserved for the last 7 episodes, and in this one, she actually kills a dude. She's being very suave. I'm like, you know what? I think the Kingpin and I are good. We don't need your services anymore. And then she's just throwing that, maybe your girlfriend would be interested to know your Daredevil. Blah, 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 blah. Does she know your Daredevil? Blah, blah, blah. And all the while, Bullseye is making his move. Now, again, I don't know the comics, so I don't know the full extent of where this goes. But spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen the episode, Matt gets shot. And you gotta wonder, is he doing it just in general to be like, I'm gonna take the bullet? Bah! Is he taking the bullet? Was he in cahoots with Poindexter? Because Poindexter was gunning for Fisk. So I'd like to think, in part of my distorted theory, that maybe like there was some kind of code back in the prison cell in the interview room when he smashed his face. Is like, I'm going to break a tooth. This is how you're going to be able to get to do this. But maybe he was like, all right, I'm going to go after Fisk. But Matt's plan to take the bullet, that's far-fetched. It is a comic show. Could be anything, really and truly. So anyways, Matt gets shot. He's shown bleeding out on the floor. Heather leaning over him. Everyone very slowly. I know it was slow motion, but there was no other shot. There was nothing else. Bullseye realizes he's messed up, shot the wrong person, even though he was shooting at the right person. Fisk gets out, Vanessa gets out, Colin or whatever his name is, he's holding that gun really weirdly as he's running out of the room. And it ends in red, which is a stark contrast to how the episode began in blue. And I thought that was kind of neat. And because it's red and blue, Spider-Man's not going to show up. Come on. Like, as much as I wanted to happen, god damn, wouldn't that be cool just to hear Tom Holland be like, oh my god, Mr. Murdoch, I didn't realize anything was happening. I came to visit you. That would be cool if Tom Holland does show up, like, just as Peter Parker and not um, Spider-Man. I never realized, this is an aside, how hard it is for me to see Peter Parker now instead of Peter Parkour. It's getting me really messed up. So a couple of things about that, like the final, I don't want to say minute or two. Um, I'm always a fan of different camera shots and movements and everything like that. And that incredibly super wide shot that they do when Bullseye basically chambers the bullet and gets ready to take the shot. And it's like that IMAX, but double. It was like, and I love that shot. Everyone has used that. Tarantino, there's been stuff that's been like in westerns that has done that, in Eastwood flicks. There's been so many of these, and it's been used, like Michael Bay's done it, for God's sake. But it works. It was a great shot that was just that whole like, ooh, everything slows down to that moment. Loved it. We also realized right before the shot is taken, we were waiting to see, like, Vanessa, was she the one that made that put the hit out on Foggy? And there's all this different stuff that kind of comes into a head, and it works. And that upside down shot where, everything rotates and Matt Murdock is basically flipped upside down as he's bleeding out. That's a very comic book cover panel shot. And I thought it was really cool. And it just ended that way. Great. How's episode 9 going to go? Who's to say? I don't know. Is Matt going to be regarded as the hero? Which is going to be hard, because then people are going to be interviewing, talking about him. Is it going to be revealed that he's Daredevil? Is there going to be any talk about Daredevil? We've only heard a few instances of the Daredevil being spoken about. Now, obviously, he hasn't shown up for the entire show. We've only seen him fighting Muse, really, and then at the beginning. We see Matt fight, but we don't get to see Daredevil a lot. Again, I understand why. He can't be in the suit the entire time. But, yeah, obviously, Matt survives. Like, there's no question about this, because we still have an episode. And we still have a second season, of which we've seen set photos of him in different suits. So, like, he survives. Thanks, internet, for ruining everything. But it does give that, like, for anyone who's not following up on Reddit, on Instagram, on Facebook, and all these things, it's kind of like, I don't know, is he gonna make it? If you're in the dark about it, good for you. That's amazing. You've been able to avoid this stuff. But unfortunately, myself and Justin, we're in the business of knowing, and knowing is good, but it's harming the business now, because, again, I really wish that some of that stuff had been kept closer to the heart. But everyone's got a cell phone these days. So, yeah, very stark contrast to where the season began, following Poindexter's hit on Foggy. Everyone's like, happy-go-lucky, I'm a lawyer, ho, 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 ho. And now we're at the point where Matt's gotten shot. Mayor Fisk is very much the kingpin. Vanessa and Fisk are basically happy together. Matt found love. Matt fell out of love. Love saved herself. Daredevil's back. We saw the Punisher. Bullseye's back. No word on Foggy, though. No word on Foggy. I'm pretty sure we're going to get to see something in the next episode. For sure. Where do I see it going from here? I don't know, because there's so many things. Again, I don't know Daredevil. I don't. All I know from the comics is, again, he's kind of a mixed bag. He's brutal, but then there's things that he does that are like kind, and then he just beats the absolute piss out of somebody. I don't know. Like, it's this whole thing. It's how everyone writes him differently. It's kind of like Hawkeye. Hawkeye can be brutal, but then he can be funny. Like, it's a whole thing. But yeah, it's we're left with a lot of questions, which is good because that shows the chops of a good showrunner, director, producers, and all that stuff. That we're like, oh my goss, oh my goss. I tried to say oh my glorb, and I came out goss. Maybe I need a nap. I don't know. Anyways, so a credit, huge credit, and huge shout out goes to everyone that was involved in Born Again, because they've done, I think, the job of creating tension. I know that this hasn't been very well received for whatever reason. I'm enjoying it just because I like Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock, and I could watch him be him for the rest of time. But and same with Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. Like their dynamic just works so well and against each other. It's great, honestly. But yeah, so what is the finale going to hold? We don't know. We're going to have to wait until it shows up Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, Newfoundland time. But we're going to be ending season one very soon. So you're going to have to stick to the channel, to the Distorted Theorists, for the reaction, the review, the breakdown, the pizza, the lasagna, the dancing. I don't know whatever's going to happen, but you're going to have to stick to the channel because we're going to do an end of season review as well. How we're going to do that, who's to say? We keep it real around here. So, with that being said, I am Peter Parkour of the Distorted Theorists. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm not going to give a number for this. Actually, you know what? I should. This was a solid 8.5, 9 for me. Really and truly. Um, yeah, I got ahead of myself there. I really did. I realized what I was doing. That's the issues of feeling under the weather. Um, 8.5, 9. It wasn't the best episode, but it was up there because I just love seeing all the nastiness and all the underseatedness. And then bing, bang, boom, Matt gets shot. Anyways, this is getting real awkward now, so I'm just gonna go toodaloo. Again, I am Peter Parkour of the Distorted Theorists, and like we always say around here, keep it real.